An elderly dog that nobody desired found a heartwarming connection with a young girl. The challenge of finding homes for shelter dogs is undeniable, given that many individuals prefer purchasing puppies from breeders to raise them from the outset. However, the encounter between a little girl and an aged dog defied expectations and touched hearts in an astonishing way. Molly Wogan, a 12-year-old with a deep affection for animals, especially dogs, took it upon herself to make a difference. In 2016, she embarked on a volunteering journey alongside her family at Cape Ann Animal Aid, a shelter situated in Massachusetts. This haven for dogs in need became a labor of love for Molly and her family. Their volunteer duties encompass engaging with the dogs, taking them for strolls, engaging in playtime, offering basic training, and ensuring they were nourished. On a particular day, Molly and her mother, Mindy, were concluding their volunteer shift, content after a day spent pampering the pooches. Unexpectedly, a staff member approached them, appealing for their assistance in walking one final dog before they departed. Sharing a knowing glance, the mother and daughter pair found themselves ready to depart, their coats already donned. Yet, how could they turn down the chance to help one more dog in need of a stroll? Our shift was ending, coats on and all, when the staff approached us with a request to take out one last dog. Mama Grace, Mindy recounted during an interview. According to Mindy, they mentioned that Mama Grace was quite energetic in her kennel, persistently barking and hesitant to relieve herself. Mama Grace, a black Labrador mix, was the subject of discussion. Despite her age, her exuberance remained unaffected, setting her apart. Nonetheless, it was this spirited demeanor that caused Mindy to approach the pup with a measure of caution. She wondered whether Mama Grace might prove too much for her and Molly to handle. Little did she realize how profoundly mistaken she would be. Once the decision was made to take Mama Grace for her customary walk, Mindy and Molly proceeded cautiously, attaching her leash. As they stepped outside, a remarkable transformation occurred. Mama Grace's entire personality seemed to shift. She was playful and happy, Mindy said. Nothing like her behavior in her kennel. She would come running toward me, then stop short, sit down right at my feet, and just look up at me with her sad, soulful eyes. She was amazing. Molly and Mindy ended up walking Mama Grace for quite a while, as they loved her playful personality, but as they headed back to the shelter, they found themselves becoming more and more reluctant to let the black Labrador go back to her kennel. The mother and daughter had fallen in love with the canine in the short amount of time that they had known her, and they couldn't bear the thought of her going back to being scared and lonely. It was at that moment that both Molly and Mindy knew what they had to do. The two Wogans told the shelter staff that they wanted to foster Mama Grace while she was waiting for her new forever family. They thought that by giving her a break from the kennel, the dog would attract more interest from potential adopters, as they would be able to see her true personality shine through. The shelter agreed, and before long, the black lab was following Molly and her mother to their car. As Molly jumped into her seat in the back of the car, Mama Grace wasted no time in following her. The canine jumped into the back seat and cuddled up to Molly as close as she could. Throughout the entire car ride back to their home, Mama Grace was perfectly well behaved, and that didn't change once she was in the house. As she entered the building, Mama Grace quickly made herself at home. She cuddled up to anyone and everyone who would give her a moment of attention, and even those who didn't. Moreover, she quickly became friends with Molly's other dog, Riley, and happily started to play with him. The entire family loved just how quickly and amazingly well she fit in with everyone. For the next few days, Mama Grace charmed everyone with her lovable personality and goofy antics. After only 3 days, Molly's mother knew what she needed to do. She was going to adopt Mama Grace. I knew in my heart on that car ride home that she was going to be ours, but I didn't admit that to anyone quite yet, Mindy said. However, it was while she was going through the adoption papers for the canine that the woman found something explaining Mama Grace's heartbreaking past and how she came to be in the shelter. Among the paperwork was a note written by Swan Edie from Earl's Hope Rescue in Georgia. I cried as I read the letter, Mindy said. The letter informed Mindy that Mama Grace had originally been a stray dog in Georgia. Animal control officers had picked her up after a member of the public spotted her and suspected that she had been hit by a car due to the injuries on her body. The poor pup was also infested with fleas and was suffering from a bit of mange, resulting in patches of hairless skin. But the most distressing part about Mama Grace's condition was her severe malnutrition. She was roughly 20 pounds or 9 kilograms underweight and pregnant. This situation was critical, as the lack of nutrients could lead to the puppies being stillborn due to inadequate development in the womb. After the animal control officers brought her to the shelter, Mama Grace received a quick check by the vet before being placed in her own kennel. Shockingly, only hours after her arrival, she went into labor and gave birth to 10 puppies, thankfully. All of the puppies survived, but all of them, including Mama Grace, were suffering from pneumonia. The shelter issued an urgent plea for someone to save the family. Swan saw the message and rushed over to retrieve the poor pups. She tirelessly cared for the canines around the clock, and all but one of the puppies survived. Once they were healthy enough, the puppies were adopted out to loving homes, but Mama Grace stayed with Swan, who nursed her back to health. Eventually, she sent Mama Grace to the Cape Ann Animal Aid Shelter to find her new forever family. After reading the note, both Mindy and her daughter were overwhelmed with emotion. They immediately emailed Swan to let her know that Mama Grace had found her new home and would be forever loved and cared for. After getting in touch with Swan, the three women kept regular contact. Swan told Molly about the shelter dogs that were still at risk and needed new homes quickly. It was around this time Molly realized that she needed to complete a volunteer project as part of her preparations for her bat mitzvah. What Molly decided to do next will warm your heart. Keeping in mind everything Swan had told her, Molly decided to set up her own foundation to raise money to help save other dogs like Mama Grace. She established it as the Paws Project Foundation. With unwavering determination, her objective was to gather $2,500 or 2,400 pounds within a year, destined for local shelters. What transpired next left her utterly astonished. News of Molly's initiative rapidly spread, inspiring numerous individuals to contribute. As 2017 drew to a close, Molly had managed to accumulate over $28,000 in monetary donations, along with an additional $40,000 in kind contributions. These resources were subsequently distributed across 14 distinct shelters, including Swan's. Molly's efforts extended even further. She rescued a total of 79 dogs from high-risk shelters, ensuring they found new, forever homes with loving families. As time passed, Molly's project evolved into an official non-profit organization that persists in its mission of saving dogs. Undoubtedly, she embodies an extraordinary spirit. We invite you to share your thoughts on this remarkable story in the comments below, and remember to show your support by liking and subscribing for more heartwarming tales.